All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about United's approach in the 2-1 win at Crystal Palace. It was, I think, 0.2 something XG from open play. So pluses and minuses in this one. Yeah.
That's a plus. Still a plus.
Yeah, we also have +1 goal difference as well. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the first half, the lineup, where it went wrong, changes at half time, and the role of Xerxes, Mount, and Mbeumo. Especially, we saw Lisandro Martinez come on for 15 minutes or so at the end of the game. What does that mean for our defence going forward? Talk about why we can't make chances from open play. It looks like we can't. And then talk about set pieces, because we're actually the second most successful side in the Premier League behind Arsenal, I think.
It's joint
set pieces. Yeah,
I think it's joint first now. I think it's
joint
10 goals.
First.
It's 10 set piece goals each. We should shout about that more. I think that's absolutely wonderful. The same way the United fans were shouting to Daft Punk at the end of the game. That was absolutely terrific. But I mean, where it went wrong in the first half, I think was abundantly clear to me, was Jean-Philippe Mateta was just dragging any one of the three centre-backs out. Palace would go long. Him and De Ligt would compete for a duel. He'd push De Ligt out of the way, and Palace would then be in behind from that. They didn't create a massive amount, but they created enough chaos, I felt, to be just about the better team in the first, I think, 13 minutes. That was where it was going wrong. I think I want to touch upon this because almost nobody else has mentioned this. There was a crucial period after the double touch penalty where, from the penalty being scored again and half time, United were very good on the ball. Not very good on the ball in terms of creating chances or attacks. They just did well to put their foot on the ball and get a little bit of control in the game. This wasn't. It was Mount is very good at dropping as a right 10. Bruno was sort of moving up as well. They were just sustaining attacks better, and I felt as though that little 5 or 6, 7 minute period before half time, they were like, okay, well, look, we are down, but calm assured, we're kind of controlling the last 7 minutes, and they're going to be knackered second half, so we can get at them. So I felt that little period was actually really important, and then that led to the changes at half time.
Yeah, I have to say, the bits I liked and bits I didn't like about the lineup, obviously Ahmad back at right wing back. I think it's abundantly clear now that United are just a much better attacking unit when he's in that position, or at least have one attacking player.
And we're still shit even when he is. But
well, yes, but yes. You know, there are gradients of shit, aren't there?
No, I agree. Tell me about those.
Picture.
Tactics pod on gradients of shit.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
If we look at the abomination that was Everton, and it was an abomination, then we look at the abomination of yesterday's first half, and it was dreadful. It was last year's team and Mbeumo. Last season, everyone agreed that we were shit, and it was and so we needed to sign players. So we signed 3 outfield players, and 2 of them have missed the last 2 games.
They weren't there yet. Yeah.
So, okay, it's good, yeah, that we don't have a goalkeeper chucking them in every 5 seconds, which is a massive help. But there's no reason to expect to see what we saw yesterday and against Everton to look massively different, even though, okay, we want the manager to coach, and what Dharnish said before about a little bit more control at the end of the first half was true, and we do need to see a bit more intensity, and that and the manager said it himself. But in terms of quality, why would it be that much better if it's last year's team and Mbeumo? And we can
nail on the head.
I think that's fair enough. In terms of the quality of the players, for sure. I mean, he has had months more worth of time to train them to play this system. I mean, coming back to my thoughts on the first 11, I don't know why we're persisting with Xerxes at number 9. I know it's an emergency situation, but we've seen this film and we know how it ends.
Who else
struggles
play there, though?
Quite a lot.
I mean, I think he's in there because of the long balls, and we saw that it improved.
He's bad at it.
He was okay. I thought he was okay. He got better at it in the second half, I think.
Also, I think if you look at a player like Xerxes, you know, he's what the tacticos call an associative player, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's someone who's one touch combining with players, right? If he never fucking plays, then honing the kind of stuff that you want to see from him is gonna take time. So I wasn't like elated when I saw that he was starting again. But at the same time, I felt like why jettisoning him on the basis of the Everton game didn't make a lot of sense, because the stuff that you want to see from him requires honing, and it requires him to feel comfortable. It requires the team to feel comfortable with him, and that's not an easy process necessarily. So although do I think he's good enough to be a United centre forward full time? No, but on the Xerxes point, because here's what's kind of interesting. I was watching Glasner's interview after the game, and when he's talking about Ismaila Sarr going off and saying that he doesn't have a profile like Sarr. So the question I was asking myself was, when you look at a squad, right, do you want, and I don't know the answer to this, do you want profile, like, do you want copies of the same profile, so that if you lose one player, you replace him with someone different that's similar who fills the same role in the team, or do you want options, particularly in attack, so that when you need to make a change, you're not just replacing someone to come and do the same job, but you're bringing on a slightly different player. And Fergie
I think the answer is both.
Yeah, Fergie was very much option B. Like, Fergie loved options, loads of different attackers.
Yeah.
And because for me, like, Xerxes is someone who I'm not totally opposed to having him around, because I think he is something slightly different to what we have, who, if you were chasing a game, might just add something different if he was fit and in form, and he does it much fitter than he did a year ago. So I'm not totally opposed to him, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to round out my thought on Xerxes and build on what you said there, one, he's not a number 9. It's just not the profile of player. And he's much better in half spaces than he is trying to hold up long balls. And I think we've got a year and a half of evidence of that now. He's just not going to become that player, no matter how much time he has on the pitch to become more associative with his attacking colleagues. So it's just, I just don't think that's going to change. And it comes to the second half, when in fact he did play in those half spaces more, and they rotated them Bumo and Mount, and that was much better as a result. And the second thing is on your point about what kind of profiles. Well, I think Amorim is quite clear, and he said it in his Friday press conference. He wants certain profiles for certain positions, and he just sees certain players in the way he sees them for his positional type of game. He's very much like Arteta and Maresca and Guardiola. He thinks about players in certain positions and the roles they have to play in those positions. And I don't think Xerxes will work out as a result. And, after the Everton result, I was just shocked that he was trying Xerxes there again. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, because not once has it ever really worked. And it didn't really work yesterday. The fact that Xerxes was better in the second half and scored was because he dropped deeper and they moved him into the left channel. Anyway, so that was part of the reason it went wrong. And then on Mateta, you're right. He bullied United's defenders quite a lot. He's good. He's just not a very good finisher. For all the sort of physicality and strength and he offers to the Palace side, his finishing is the reason why he's at Palace and not at United or Liverpool or anywhere else named top club, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he showed it yesterday with a chance, but just to sort of finish off on your point on Xerxes and why he was better in the second half, what Mount and Mbeumo did as the left and the right tens was just they dropped really central. So that meant that both Palace players had to follow them in the middle of the pitch. And finally, Casemiro and Bruno, instead of turning and realizing, oh crap, there's 40 yards of pitch before I hit a striker, they could pass it to one of them, and then they could pass it to one of the fullbacks or pass it into Xerxes on the floor. Xerxes, he's a lot better when you pass it to him on the floor, because he drags the defender with him and then he can turn it around the corner. And then spaces began to appear more because Palace are knackered, but you finally had a route where it's like, no, we can actually progress the ball from the middle of the pitch going forward. It's just my big problem, and we'll get on to why we can't create much from open play still. The big problem I have with this is when you watch these moves happen, in one screenshot, you can see almost all of the midfield and the striker really close to the ball. They all trying to look to get it into feet, and it's like, if you're going to do that, I want both fullbacks to run in behind, or at least I want some fucker to run in behind, because I'm just watching all 5 of them come really deep. And I get that that's exactly what they're supposed to do in this system, because the left 10 and the right 10, they're supposed to drag the defenders with them. Then you're meant to bang it into them. The problem is there's just nobody running off them now. And I think what we need to change with that is either one of the centre backs runs forward or one of the full backs runs forward, like Luke Shaw was doing a little bit, like Martinez was doing when he's fit.
I find that point about the centre backs, I find it so nuts that
Why?
The wide centre backs are going to be expected to play make, and I probably said this before, that they've got to be fast enough to defend the channels. So that's say Euro. They've got to be able to play make, like Mazraoui maybe could, or Martinez.
Yeah.
But who are these fuckers? Literally, in the whole game, it feels like this system to play at a Premier League level needs like Sammer and Beckenbauer. I just in the history of football,
It
genuinely,
knows every single position.
I'm really struggling to think of more than maybe 10 centre backs that I think could do what this role wants them to do properly.
He needs unicorns in every position, and I think we know this now, right? We've 18 months of Amorim. He needs a unicorn in every position.
Liverpool knew it as well, really, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's why Liverpool didn't employ him. But I felt like when I first kind of read it, I thought it was like more of a system thing, as in like the particular kinds of players you need for 3-5-2, 4-3-4-3 or whatever. But it almost feels like it's more for this particular iteration of 3-4-3, it needs something different to what every other iteration of 3-4-3 needs, because of what you're asking the midfielders to do. And I kind of relatedly, did you watch Arsenal against Bayern Munich?
Yeah. I did that game, yeah.
And then you see like that game, and then I think it also felt like one of the major differences, this isn't really a tactical point almost, in that game was when Arsenal take off, can't even remember who they took off. Was it Lewis Skelly and someone else? And they bring on, that's right. They bring on Calafiori and Martinelli or whatever, like just replacing physicality with physicality after an hour. And when you're watching the game and thinking, which 2 midfield players could possibly compete with 3 physical midfield players? How do you make that work? And I fucking don't know the answer.
It's just to go off your point, and it's a good segue into what it means that we got a few minutes out of Lisandro Martinez. I know we said that you need fucking Beckenbauer in that role, or you need a unicorn. Martinez, before he got injured last season, I think, and then Euro before he got injured last season, they were finally learning how to do that role. And Amorim came out after one of the games where Martinez was very good, and he said, no, look, that's what the centre-backs are supposed to do, because whilst everybody is sat still, or the pivot of Casemiro and Fernandes are marked off, the left or right centre-back is meant to travel forward with the ball into the opposition's half. So that's what he can bring. And he can absolutely play make as well. He can absolutely play make. Think of the cross for the Europa League goal last season. Think of his goal against Fulham.
There's very few in the world who are better at him than that. I wonder about him defending the channel. And it's also, you can see that Amorim is fucking desperate to get him back into the team, isn't he? And I don't even think it's just for the playmaking; it's for the mentality as well. But it took him. If we cast our minds back, it took him quite a while, to get going after his last injury again. He'd only really just started to play well when he got hurt again. He's such an unlucky fucker, him, because it's not like he's a croc who keeps doing hamstrings or whatever, like someone like Mount. I'm not calling Mount a croc, but you know what I mean, where someone keeps getting niggles and you kind of worry about them. He seems to somehow keep getting massive injuries.
Massive injuries.
Which would make you think that there's no reason to think he's going to do it again. It's not like a hamstring that keeps going, but you wonder what the toll each time one of these takes.
It's a little bit of a concern, I would say. Yeah, I would love for him to get 25 games free now, but he has just really struggled with injury since arriving for a long time.
And he looks rusty when he comes back. We'll find out, because Luke Shaw was actually playing pretty well, I think. He was really good in this game. Again, he's the exact profile that Amorim wants. He's quite comfortable bringing the ball out. He finds good passing lanes, whether it's inside or into the channels. He could do with someone on the outside of him who's not completely useless. Unfortunately, we have two variants of that with Patrick Dorgu, who gets in great positions, carries the ball really well, and then can't deliver anything. His data, by the way, I think I might have said it on the pod. If you look at this stuff he does well, ball carrying, elite, it's 95th percentile across all 7 top Euro leagues.
Wow.
And expected assists, threat, every attacking metric is in the bottom 20%.
He's also, I think, the joint quickest measured top speed or something in the league as well, which doesn't look like that when he runs. He's not someone who looks like he's going that quick, but he's also really high for pace.
Yeah,
I think
he's Jekyll and Hyde for sure in terms of his talent. And then Dalot played yesterday, who actually I think is pretty competent in build-up, right? He does sensible things with the ball, but just in the final third, obviously, from that position can't deliver anything at all.
So bad. There was a moment yesterday where he just totally gets into a position and then doesn't have a clue what to do. So do we move Luke Shaw to the left wing back?
I mean, it's a real thought, though, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. Martinez left wing back, Luke Shaw left full back. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think it helps Dalot or Dorku that Amrim's like, okay, you got 2 games. Oh, wait, you're crap again. Okay, now the other one. And then it's like, it's a vicious cycle. But yeah, I mean, it's so insane how bad Dalot is in attack. There was a couple of instances. There was a volleyed shot that almost went for a throw. There was a shot that he should have shot, but he passed it. But he was a lot better yesterday, I felt. He was better working with Mount on that side. It was a good combination.
Yeah, it is. It's just a shame that the attack has to be sort of suspended every time he's in the final third because he has to cut inside. Not that it makes a difference if he's on the right because he can't deliver from the outside either. It's just it's all pretty good up until the final third. The discussion around getting Lisandro Martinez back in, I'm sure they'll build him up in terms of his fitness, and then there really will be a discussion about whether Luke Shaw is able to do that left wing back role or not. And I think that's the question. Will he get crocked if he does have to run a lot? Because history says that he probably will. But it gives United a lot of options, and we have got an amazing amount of options in defence now. And presumably Yoro will take a little bit of a rest after his difficult little spell, because Mazraoui can slot in there fairly easily. And Amorim, I don't know whether you caught it in the Friday press conference, was really quite rude. And I don't know whether it was the second language thing about Dorgu and Dalot. Yeah. But then again, like when the game was going on, I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it, because ever since coming, this system needs. It's all about wingbacks, right? You need expressive wingbacks who can take 2-3 men on, and he has Amad Diallo, and that's it. Really, it's not. Yeah. Dalot's been bad and Doku's been bad, so it was harsh, but I kind of get it.
So the problem that I think we have is also, if you think about Yoro's best performances in terms of contributing to the attack came from left centre-back, because it gives them that inside channel to pass into. So we've got 3 players who want to play or can play that left centre-back role. And then on the right, I mean, you could play Mazraoui there, but you lack that pace defending the channel.
I also think he's not that good in attack, Mazraoui. I don't know what's happened to him, but he was a lot better. I remember him being a very good crosser of the ball at Bayern Munich. He didn't seem to be doing that against Everton.
Let's break this down. Why can't United create from open play at all? And we created almost nothing against Everton. Nothing of a high quality, I should say. It was 25 shots or something like that against 10 men. And yesterday it is 1.19 XG, but that includes the set pieces, right? So it's almost nothing from open play at all in the entire game. We have a problem with this.
It's very simple. It's very straightforward. The only reason they've scored goals and won games this season is because at Old Trafford, the press is really aggressive and they turn over the ball a lot. When Šeško is in the team, they play long balls. When Cunha and Mbeumo are in the team, they can take 3 or 4 men on. When you kind of get rid of even one of those 3 dynamics, they struggle, because teams do exactly what they did last season, and he still doesn't have an answer for it. If you play a back 5, or you can switch to a back 5 like Palace did, like Everton did, you mark you mark the left 10, you mark the right 10, you mark the pivots in the middle, and that's about it, because the wing backs, they're not going to go and fly in behind. That's it. He still doesn't have a solution to the problem that he had created last season. And all the managers know it, and they still set up in the same way. The solution, like I said, is wingbacks go, or somebody make a run in behind. Stop getting it to feet, or you can't all come to feet.
The problem we have is if the wingbacks make a run in behind, so fucking what with the wingbacks that we have?
It will be interesting to see whether United look at any moves in the transfer market this winter. I mean, we know they have not got a problem with PSR. They will definitely not have a problem under the squad cost ratio next season unless we go and spunk. Well, I think Jamie and I were trying to work it out. I think it'd have to be something like £700 million in the transfer market for us to have a problem. We haven't got any cash, so it will all be on the credit card. But would this be transformational to our season to get in an effective wing back on either side, really, this winter, or an alternate striker, or another midfielder? If you could do one deal, what would it be, and what would be the most transformational, given that we have this problem with creation, and it is going to hold United back? And yet the prize of the European place is there to see, because there are a lot of mediocre teams all around us, and I count us in that as well.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You could finish kind of 14th, or you could finish 4th.
Yeah, and it feels very narrow margins, and so perhaps solving one of these problems would help.
I mean, the problem with AFCON, though, it feels like it could get very grim.
It feels like it's a little bit ominous, AFCON. But I would say that there is still improvements in the team. I think I'd still like to acknowledge that, you know, the team spirit is miles better. They've come back really well against Forest and Tottenham. It's a difficult league. Like, it's not straightforward. You're not going to go from 15th to why can't we beat Spurs or Forest? We should be challenging for the title. And the league is trending towards long balls and set pieces, and they're doing both a lot better.
We have 5 at the back. We can't really defend.
Yeah, it was much tighter yesterday, for sure. I mean, save for one, I mean, a Euro kind of stumbles and then cleans out his man. I think he's trying to pull out.
I'd say there was one that Mateta missed where I felt like, gosh, you've got to score that.
Yeah.
It was only, I guess it was only one. It wasn't necessarily a performance. It felt like it was a result to build upon. And we did play better in the second half, but it wasn't one where you're like, right, like we're going now. And if you even look back, like, because when we beat Liverpool, we thought, okay then, but then every fucker's beaten them since then. And you kind of almost reevaluating that performance in the light of what's happened subsequently. But I think one thing is kind of clear, isn't it? As you say, that we need everyone available to be even proximate to acceptable. I mean, Cunha will be back, I'm sure, against West Ham. So they're training before Everton, and they're doing like a full 11-a-side corners. And Cunha, I think, is defending the front post. Corner comes in, everyone's there. Amorim's there, the coaches are there. Amorim's taking the session. They've got doctors there. Corner comes in, Cunha heads it away. The doctors are like, we think he might be concussed. Amorim's like, Cunha, what the fuck are you cunts talking about? Well, the ball came in really hard. It's a fucking corner! So they test Cunha and go, yeah, you're concussed. You can't play in the next game, and touch and go for the one after that. And they basically signed Cunha off for 2 games because he headed away a corner.
Because he headed the ball away.
He headed away a corner in training.
Well, in 40 years' time, when he's got CTE, he'll be like, yeah, look, they were right.
Surely the point would be that he didn't have CTE.
Well, yeah. Talking of corners, United have been much more effective from set pieces. So let's round this out. Why are we scoring goals from set pieces? Because I'm looking at it, and it's not like when you watch Arsenal do it, they have some very special routines. Yeah. And it's utter chaos, whoever are defending, right? And look at Bayern. They just couldn't. I mean, Bayern are not a good set-piece defending side. And so the inevitability of Arsenal scoring from a corner, what you could have put, like, you could have got so much money out of betting on that. But why are we scoring goals? And we got 2 different ones yesterday. One was a very good ball from Bruno, spotting Xerxes peeling off at the back post. I don't know whether that was by design or just he spotted him, and a good finish. The second one was a very quick routine, taking advantage of Palace not being set. So was that just luck and Bruno? Or are we just doing something better
neither of the 2 we scored yesterday are because we're a good set-piece team.
No.
It's not like
Bruno.
It's not like when Arsenal get a corner and like everyone's shitting their pants as like their Starkers come into the box. It's not that. What I enjoyed about the first one, the Xerxes one, was because one of the things I find extremely nauseating about Xerxes is he plays like someone that doesn't really want to score goals.
Yeah.
He's so fucking patient and trying to wait to like administer like the composed perfect finish. But it so happened in that occasion that was the correct finish to apply. The problem with him is that sort of feels like the only speed he plays at is that really slow speed. He doesn't have the other version. It just so happened that was right for that kind of opportunity. Whereas, and the second one was, I think, was a combination of them not getting their wall right, Bruno noticing and basically forcing Mount to shoot by playing the ball to him even before he was ready, and Mount did a good job.
But we have got a couple of goals from corners as well this season. So, and Bruno's delivery, generally speaking, has been good. So they've mixed it up, some to the edge of the box and quite a few into the mixer, like everyone else is doing. It's cheap goals. It's good.
I don't see a problem with it. Last season as well, there was a point where I was getting really, really angry at Bruno Fernandes's corner taking, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but it really improved. I think towards like when we thought there was a genuine threat of relegation for Man United, which sounds insane to say, but his corner taking really improved then, and we scored loads of goals from set pieces last season towards the end. I remember a couple against Ipswich, one against Everton, but it has mainly just been on him. There's that. It's not a play necessarily, but it's a ball to the back post that they do, or a ball to like the middle of the pitch, because Casemiro did it against Forest, De Ligt did it against Tottenham, and we scored against Fulham in the same way. It's mainly, to answer the question, is Bruno Fernandes really.
Yeah, it's always a dichotomy with the corners and the free kicks. Do you hit it in flat and hard, because that's where you're going to cause the most chaos? But in order to do that, you've really got to block the near man defender, the near post defender, haven't you? I'm not seeing a lot of that from United. Like if you watch Arsenal, they do take out the near post defender so they can hit both Rice and Saka, hit those flat corners in, which are obviously a lot more dangerous than the floated one. It would be interesting to see if they decide to try and disrupt the opposition defence at some point. Carlos Fernandes is the set piece coach these days. So, yeah.
Because we don't really have those very many big guys. If you look at our centre-backs, there's De Ligt or Dielit, as Darren Fletcher calls him. But it's not... Yeah, but Yoro's a big lad, but he's not that kind of aggressive type.
No.
Casemiro's really good in the air. Casemiro's insanely good in the air.
So he's really... I was about to say, he's sort of almost the only one without...
That you would aim for,
not the team. That he'd be the one I'd be really wanting to try. Yeah, I'd be arranging all like the decoys and whatever to try and get it onto Casemiro's head, really. But that's hard when he's not a massive guy. He's just good with his head. That's different to like a massive guy who's also good with his head.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see what we do in the summer, because if Casemiro does leave, if he doesn't sign a new contract, that will be our best set piece, both defender and attacker, out of the side, out of the squad, and see whether they bring in a big guy in the summer or not. All right, I think that covers our agenda for the Tactics Pod this week.